Continuing from the previous videos, briefly we'll try to understand what all we learned. We learned that patient was having hypokalemia. Then we did urinary spot potassium. In that we came to know that urinary spot potassium is way higher than the normal, that is more than 15 millicoulomb per liter. Then we understood that the culprit here is the kidney. In the kidney, the culprit here is the tubules. The tubules are not intact and they are unable to reabsorb enough amount of tubules, leading to hypokalemia situation. So to rule out the next diagnosis, what we did is we did ABG. We did ABG. In the ABG, again we have two important clinical patterns, that is acidosis and alkalosis. The acidosis part, we learned that there are two important differential diagnoses here, that is RTA. In the RTA we got RTA type 1 and RTA type 2. How to differentiate between RTA type 1 and type 2 we understood in the previous video. And then the next part is in the ABG we got one important pattern, that is alkalosis pattern. In the alkalosis pattern we came to know that to understand what is the possible diagnosis, the next step we did is we check the blood pressure of the patient. When we check the blood pressure, that is hypokalemia with alkalosis pattern, when we check the blood pressure, two important clinical spectrum we get again, that is patient is having raised blood pressure and patient is having low to normal blood pressure, that is patient is having a hypotensive state or a normotensive state. What if the patient is having a hypertension? That the spectrum here is hypertension, which is usually secondary hypertension, and it is also resistant hypertension also. So patient is having a hypertension, metabolic alkalosis and hypokalemia. So this situation we got three important differential diagnoses. One is Conn's syndrome, next one is Liddle syndrome, next one is Cushing's syndrome. So all these three diseases are having raised blood pressure along with metabolic alkalosis and hyperkalemia. So how to differentiate each one of them with possible clues? Not exact conceptual understanding, with possible clues we can rule out many options here. So Liddle syndrome, point to be noted here is everything is related with L. What are the L's? That is low aldosteronism, that is low aldosterone levels, and low potassium levels also, and low renin levels also. The only increased or high level here is the blood pressure itself. So the blood pressure is raised here. And this D will stand for what? Autosomal dominant pattern. And do you know any drug which can be used in Liddle syndrome? The answer is amiloride. That is a treatment pattern. Treatment segment. Coming to Conn syndrome, how to differentiate between Conn's and Liddle? As you know, Conn's is what? Primary hyperaldosteronism state. So to differentiate between them, just measure the levels of aldosterone. Here the aldosterone levels are high. Rest all, everything almost same. Here also potassium levels is low and the renin levels is low. So in both, that is Liddle syndrome and Conn syndrome, there is a hypertension with low renin levels. So they are best example or important example of hyporeninemic hypertension. And here also blood pressure is high. Here also blood pressure is high. The point to be noted here is, since the aldosterone levels are high, we should use the drugs which will cause lowering the aldosterone levels. The best example is spironolactone. So if the spironolactone gives gynecomastia side effect, then the drug to be used is eplerenone. So this is one of the important differential points to differentiate between Liddle and Conn's. And Cushing syndrome, again it's a big clinical spectrum, we'll understand in further videos. Coming to low and normal blood pressure. So again the clinical spectrum here we'll write again, that is patient is having hypotensive state or normotensive state with hypokalemia with metabolic alkalosis. And there are two important differential diagnoses here is, what are these? One is Bartter syndrome, next one is Gitelman syndrome. As you know, Bartter syndrome Which channel is defect? It is the three important channel, that is sodium, potassium and 2-chloride channel. So any drug which acts on this, yes, the loop drug, that is furosemide. So here the clinical feature typically will be like the furosemide toxicity or furosemide effect. So since the sodium, potassium and 2-chloride channel is not active here, so potassium is lost like anything, leading to hypokalemia situation. Coming to Gentleman syndrome, which channel is defect? Here sodium chloride reabsorptive channel of the later part of the DCT is defective. So here it acts like a diuretic. So if your diuretic is excessively active or excessively given to the patient, so the clinical spectrum will be like a Gentleman syndrome. So here which is drug it is? Furosemide or the loop diuretics, they are called as. So loop diuretic, and here the typical Gentleman syndrome, the diuretic is thiazide. Thiazide group of drugs which act on sodium chloride reabsorption in DCT, that is distal convoluted tubule, leading to Gentleman syndrome. And how to differentiate between them with the clues in the question. So here just look at the word man. So with this we can remember many things. First one, man, just write man, and behind the man there is L, just write the lazy man. So lazy man, does he take any tension regarding life or stress? No, the patient is very calm. So the blood pressure within him is low to normal limits. So with this we can remember that the Gentleman is having low to normal blood pressure. One more M is patient is having a hypomagnesemia. That is very important. If the question says something about low levels of magnesium or hypomagnesemia situation, then diagnosis goes towards Gentleman syndrome. Coming to Bartter syndrome. Here the magnesium levels are normal here. The only problem here is excessive loss of sodium, potassium, 2-chloride. So the dehydration is very severe. So severity of the disease is very high. So if the clinical spectrum says that the patient is having excessive amount of fluid loss and typical features of severe dehydration, then the diagnosis goes towards Bartter syndrome. Here Gentleman syndrome, M also stands for mild disease. So if the symptoms are very mild, low levels of dehydration and low activation of RAS, so the mild disease with hypomagnesemia with a low BP, thiazide like, the diagnosis Gentleman syndrome, and the symptoms are very severe. Dehydration symptoms are very severe. Along with, he will not say the magnesium levels are normal, so he will not mention anything about low, that is hypomagnesemia is not mentioned here. So dehydration symptoms are very severe, along with the excessive amounts of sodium and chloride loss. The diagnosis goes towards Bartter syndrome. So in short, again, if you briefly say that if the patient aldosterone levels is low, then the diagnosis is Liddle syndrome, point to be noted, and aldosterone levels is high, here the diagnosis is Cohn syndrome. And MCQ says something about hypomagnesemia, the diagnosis is Gentleman syndrome, and the severity of the symptoms is very high. So the patient usually ends up in ICU or with poor prognosis, and the diagnosis is Bartter syndrome. Mild disease Gentleman, severe symptoms Bartter syndrome, low aldosterone level with hyporeninemic hypertension, the diagnosis is Liddle syndrome, and high aldosterone levels with hyporeninemic hypertension, the diagnosis is Cohn syndrome. This is very brief representation or summary of hypokalemia with hypertension and normal to low blood pressure. Thank you.